Welcome to Righted Home's Ask the Expert series, another episode. My name is Ben Solomon. Really excited to have you here, and I have my guest Peter Kessling from Capital Injury Law. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Peter is an attorney and partner, again, as I said, with Capital Injury Law, personal injury law firm in Washington State, serving Olympia, or pretty much all of Washington State, right?
Right, we can serve all of Washington State. We have two offices, one in Tacoma and one in Olympia.
Okay, and today we're going to explore, because our focus here at Righted Home Ask the Expert has about doing around in-home care assistance and support. We're really looking for answers on how to explore do's and don'ts when you're looking for legal representation if you're injured in an accident or a victim of a medical malpractice case, and kind of really focused on as it relates to how you work with folks or how you support clients who are requiring in-home care assistance after an injury. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about. I know a lot of people, unfortunately, that's something that happens, and we really want to kind of get into that. But first, if you like what we're doing here at Ask the Expert, we'd love for you to subscribe to our series and like the video and leave us comments so we can improve what we're doing here. So we're really excited. So first I'd like to ask you, Peter, tell me a little bit about your background and why did you start Capital Injury Law? Tell us a little bit about your journey to Capital Injury Law.
Yeah, absolutely. How much time do you have?
Okay.
I've been practicing law since 1999. I was raised in a household of healthcare professionals, actually. My dad was a medical doctor. My mom, a registered nurse. One sister is a nurse midwife. The other sister is a social worker / mental health counselor. And then there's me, the lawyer.
Okay.
My brother, by the way, he also didn't follow the path to healthcare. He's a chef in town, but we can talk about that off the record. And so the reason I became a lawyer is my dad, at the time, when I was considering what my path was going to be after college, was going through what was called the medical malpractice crisis.
Okay.
And so doctors were getting crunched by insurance companies for their premiums. And the insurance companies were spreading the propaganda that it was those nasty plaintiffs, personal injury attorneys that were suing all the doctors and causing insurance premiums to increase. And so you can imagine my dad was rather disgruntled about the existence of lawyers. And you might imagine how uncomfortable the conversation was when I told him I was going to go to law school. But I told him I was going to law school to become a lawyer to defend doctors against these jerk plaintiffs' attorneys.
Okay.
And that's what I did. I went to law school. First 8 years of my career, I actually did what's called insurance defense work. So I was hired by insurance companies to defend people, and it included professionals, doctors, prosthetists. There were a couple of pharmacies, pharmacy techs, pharmacists, but then also auto accidents. And I learned pretty quickly that the problem wasn't the jerk plaintiff attorneys, it was the insurance companies. And I didn't want to work for the insurance companies anymore. They were the ones causing the problems. And so I switched to plaintiff's work.
Wow.
Okay, so the reason I opened Capital Injury Law, I had my own firm for about 10 years. I was absorbed by another plaintiff's firm and worked as an employee for a while. And at that firm, I learned what not to do. It was more numbers related. They were more interested in the money they could make rather than helping people. And my world was always, I'm here to help people. I became a lawyer to help people navigate through their legal matters, much like a healthcare provider would help a person navigate through their health crisis. And so I started Capital Injury Law with the theory that we were going to become the best customer service-oriented law firm in town. There are a lot of plaintiffs' attorneys out there, as you know. I mean, every time you turn on the television, you see an ad for a plaintiff's personal injury attorney. But what makes us unique is our focus on, our relationship with our clients and making sure that we're helping them navigate this process. So
that's great. That's refreshing.
Yeah.
Often when you think about attorneys in this business, they're focused on chasing the biggest case in putting in their holster. Hey, I got, this is what I got from my client, which is obviously important, but the focus on the client's really refreshing to hear.
There's, I learned a lesson early in life that from a local business owner, the Gallucci family, you may have heard of them. I had a conversation with the owner of the restaurant one day about how busy he was and how much money he must be making. And he said to me, Peter John, people know me as Peter John in my family. He said, Peter John, I want you to look around and tell me what you see. And, there were a group of gentlemen, for example, sitting at a table having a good conversation. I say, well, I see people enjoying themselves. And he goes, that's it. I don't worry about the money side of things. I worry about serving people.
Right. Other stuff comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a scorecard.
Right. And so I started the law firm Capital Injury Law in 2021. And our first office was in Olympia. I acquired a Tacoma firm, and that's where we got our Tacoma office. And we also do disability work and workers' compensation. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So let's kind of get into peel back the onion a little bit and ask the questions that I know folks have.
Sure.
So, God forbid you find yourself in an accident, you're experiencing some medical malpractice, procedure gone wrong. What's the first thing you should do? Yeah.
So those are two very different kinds of cases, and my advice, in terms of the first things to do, vary. So if it's an auto accident or, an injury-causing event, obviously the first thing to do is make sure you're safe, right? And to call the police if it's an automobile collision. I will note that these days, not all the time are they actually coming out to motor vehicle collisions, as long as there is an exchange of information. But with motor vehicle collision, assuming you've made yourself safe and moved on, documentation of the accident, photograph the scene. If it's, again, a motor vehicle collision, pictures of the vehicles involved. If it's a fall case, pictures of where you fell and what caused you to fall. And also trying your best to identify if there were any witnesses, and getting their name and number. And then naturally, my advice is going to be contact a law firm, because it is difficult to deal with insurance companies, and we can talk about that later.
And we'll get into that.
Yeah. With regard to medical malpractice cases and injuries caused by professional negligence, it is important also to document conversations you've had, what you recall happening, what you recall you were told could or could not happen as a result of the medical procedure. Document what injuries and limitations you have. Also, witnesses. To the extent that there were witnesses to whatever the injury-causing event was, making sure you understand who they are and how to get a hold of them.
Okay. What are some do's and don'ts? Like, what would you tell someone? Make sure, well, you've told us what you do, the documentation and photos. What should you not do? What are things that people think is a good thing to do, and they're like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that right away?
Yeah. Well, the one don't I would say is don't fail to follow medical advice. Sometimes people will be told, to get other treatment following an injury, and they won't do it for one reason or another. Insurance companies interpret that to mean that you weren't really injured if you didn't follow medical advice. So that's a big don't. Another big don't is to be very careful when you are communicating with either a claims person or someone representing the party that injured you without legal representation. Sometimes people will overshare or perhaps phrase things inaccurately. And it's helpful to have an attorney on your side that can guide you on how to communicate with them, or simply to take over the communications on your behalf.
So, yeah, so if all of a sudden you find the other side, the doctor or the whoever you're working on, the adversary, I guess.
Yeah.
Make sure you have an attorney in place is really important.
It is, yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds like a good suggestion. As you're building a case and determining what a client's needs are, what should you expect the law firm you're interviewing do to assess and document the level of care and support that you would need?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's, again, back to why I started capital injury law. One of the things I promised I would do different is to maintain excellent communications with the client. So that not only are they heard, but they're also informed with regard to what's going on. And so that requires constant communication. My clients don't talk to me every month, but someone from my office every month reaches out and gets a finger on the pulse, so to speak, with regard to what's going on with the client's life and treatment and symptoms. And then we document that. And we also can, advise in terms of treatment options and other things. So it's critical, I think, for a law firm that's doing it for the right reasons, again, helping people and helping them navigate, to maintain communication and to offer guidance to clients.
So you should be expecting proactive outreach at least once a month, or probably maybe, or as there's certain kind of key times that things start to there's like a lot of activity, and there's that, and then there may be a period of time where there isn't a lot of activity. So
exactly. Every new client that I have that we sign up, I say to them, look, we're going to check in with you. But if something happens that you think we know about, please pick up the phone and call and talk to your paralegal and let us know, whether it's a new doctor, a new treatment modality, a new symptom, whatever it is, so that we are acutely aware of what's going on in that client's life.
Okay, well, that sounds really good. What steps should attorney take and strategies to make sure all your future care needs, including non-medical or personal care needs, are factored into a claim?
Yeah, so our firm prides itself on establishing partnerships with healthcare providers. Fundamentally, us understanding what the client needs comes from conversations with the client. But if the client communicates to us that they are in need of certain care, certain equipment, or ongoing treatment of some kind, we then reach out to the professional who we think is the best person to tell us exactly what those things are, and how to document that they need them.
That sounds good. How does a law firm ensure that insurance settlements cover not just current medical bills, but those ongoing care needs?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? One of the reasons why I left the dark side, the insurance companies, and started helping real people, is that I learned that insurance companies are not altruistic companies. I mean, they hold themselves out as the good neighbor, or, what's her name from Progressive? Seems like a really nice lady that wants to, Flo, wants to give us all her money so that we're okay. The reality is, insurance companies are billion-dollar industries, and they make their money because they accept premiums from everyone. But when it comes time to make a claim, they don't want to pay, and they'll pay as little that they can, and if they can get away with it, they'll pay nothing. And so that question is actually a loaded question. The way to do it is to make sure you document the file, and that you have dogged determination and hard-headed negotiation styles. And, at the end of the day, if the insurance company doesn't meet the demand that we think is reasonable, we file a lawsuit and we let the court figure it out. And more often than not, we are successful. So,
well, that's good. That's good to hear. So I guess that kind of answers some of the questions I have. How do you address situations where insurance companies dispute or undervalue in-home care costs?
Yeah.
Sure, there's a lot of back and forth there.
There's a lot of back and forth in negotiations. And again, to the point, insurance companies undervalue even current treatment. I mean, it is often that we are arguing with an insurance company about care that had already occurred and not, future care or things that are going to be required. And, the way around that is to make sure that you have good opinion testimony from healthcare experts and well-documented, case files that give you the support you're going to need. And by the way, you have to show the insurance company, look, we have all this evidence. So if you don't settle, we're moving on to court, and good luck.
Good luck with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do law firms, so you've mentioned coordinating with the different providers to help support that building that case. So that's really important. I heard you say that. After a settlement, is it common practice for an attorney to provide guidance on managing funds or including a trust, putting in some type of special needs trust or long-term care trust to help them manage their funds? How does Keplinger Law do that, or what's sort of general practice on that? Or is that somebody else's, hey, we're going to move you over to another law firm, we make a recommendation and they can handle that?
Right. So as I said, we do disability work. And so we have clients that have, disability cases going on and also personal injury cases going on. And so we fully understand that, there's, in some cases, asset limitations that can offset or can upset the apple cart, I should say, with reference to health insurance. And so we do work with another firm that can help with special needs trusts to make sure that we're, under the radar as far as the government's concerned. And then in cases where that's not a thing, and there is future care required, and the settlement and or judgment includes those things, yes, we do counsel our clients on, money management and those sorts of things. We also will sometimes pursue what's called a structured settlement, which is a trust of a different kind. The settlement funds actually go into a trust, and then they are dispersed periodically according to a schedule, or are available for specific purposes, future healthcare or other things.
Okay.
And so that is an issue that comes up quite often, actually.
Okay, and you're able to help people navigate that and negotiate those issues. Are there common exclusions or limitations in insurance policies that clients should be aware of when seeking in-home care compensation? So
in the context of the motor vehicle collision, there's two things that you need to pay attention to. One is first-party claim, and the other is a third-party claim. First-party means your own insurance. So if you're involved in an automobile collision, you may have certain policy provisions that will provide for compensation or reimbursement of those sorts of things. And it's called personal injury protection, or PIP insurance, as we refer to it in the business. You need to know what those limits are on your policy because they can be exhausted prior to the conclusion of a personal injury case. And then with reference to the third-party piece, trying to understand how much insurance proceeds are actually out there available from the party who caused the accident. It can be a challenge sometimes because insurance companies don't have a legal obligation to tell us that information until the lawsuit has been filed, and most cases resolved before lawsuits are filed. However, when a case, again, is well documented and there's a lot of medical bills, and also, your question implies that we're talking about someone who's going to require future medical care.
Right.
As long as that's documented, the insurance company will often roll and say, okay, fine, this is how much insurance is available.
I see.
And then, of course, navigating from that point on is, it's a matter of advice and, finding the right path for the client.
Got it. So, and I guess in the follow-up question with that is keeping clients informed and educated about their progress. It's just that ongoing communication you were talking about earlier.
That's exactly right. Checking in with the client checking in with us. Again, our partnership with the healthcare providers. I'll get texts at 9 p.m. on a Friday, from a doctor saying, "Hey, I saw this patient today, and something's changed. This is going on. We should probably talk." And so this is how we, again, keep a finger on the pulse of the client's case and how it's developing.
So, and you talk about then how do you support the client emotionally through the legal and settlement process?
Yeah,
there's a lot there for a lot of these folks.
Yeah, it's funny. When I talk about this with people who ask this kind of question, I'm dealing with people that are going through one of the worst things that have ever gone in their life. And so, the public has this conception of lawyers as being, like the show Suits or Matlock. We're in court and we're arguing and that's all we do all the time. Well, a large percentage of what we do is counseling clients. And, I'm not a mental health counselor, but I've been doing this for 26 years as we're sitting here today. And I learned early on that when you're representing injured people, they often bring anxieties to the table. They often have difficult times dealing with the insurance process and other things. And so it's a matter of making sure your client's heard. Whether it be by me or a paralegal, we have conversations. And I don't know as I'm sitting here what the percentage of my day includes that, but I can tell you it's a substantial amount. I have clients that ask to talk to me, and they get on my calendar and we have conversations. And oftentimes it's exactly that. It's anxiety about how this is going to go. And
do you have any specific examples you can give, kind of share with us?
Well, so I had one yesterday, for example. The client is an elderly woman. She was involved in a motor vehicle collision, and she was referred to an orthopedic surgeon who was recommending surgery. And this particular client is not a fan of surgery and was really concerned that if a doctor's telling her that she should have surgery and she chooses not to do it, how is that going to affect the case? And had a lot of anxiety about it.
Sure.
She felt like she was being told that she has to do this.
Yes, she wanted to do it, yeah.
And so, we sat down with her, talked her through it. And, as you know, everyone's in charge of their own health care. We do typically recommend that you follow medical advice, as I said earlier, but there are certain times when it's just not going to play. It's just not going to work. So that's an example. Another example, I think, also yesterday, I had a client who he was involved in an accident in December as a Uber driver, and laws have recently changed in the state of Washington where if you're working and on the clock with Uber and get hurt, it's actually a workers' compensation claim. Well, the Department of Labor and Industries, for whatever reason, was very reluctant to open the claim. And so it finally opened, which is good news because that will give this client access to money to pay for health care and other things, time loss, things like that. But he was concerned because someone told him that meant he no longer has a personal injury claim. And so he, of course, asked for time on my calendar, and we got to talk it through, and so that I'm educating the client on what the law is and how things are going to go.
That's great. That kind of support through the process is so important.
Yeah.
It's great. Well, Peter, thank you. If you have any questions or things that we need to be thinking about that I didn't ask?
No, I don't think so. I want to come around to the fact that, we do also disability work. So our firm helps people with applications with Social Security Administration, making sure that they get approved also for long-term disability. And the reason I bring that up is as it applies to the work that you all do, we are acutely familiar with finding out what limitations people have, whether it's exertional limitations or non-exertional limitations, and what kind of care and assistance they're going to need in order to navigate the rest of their life, or maybe it's hopefully just 12 months or something along those lines.
Right.
We, I guess, are distinct among other personal injury firms for having that as something that we do as well.
So these would be people that were on the job related injuries and now they're disabled with this disability through their work. And
so that is
what we're talking about?
The answer is yes, but that's just a piece of the pie.
Piece of it.
So anyone that has a work history can apply for Social Security disability.
Oh, we're talking about SSI now.
Yeah,
Okay,
or SSI, as long as they meet certain age criteria and income criteria. And so it might not necessarily be from a work-related injury.
Oh, okay.
It might not be an injury case at all. It could be that they have a disease of some kind that they acquired naturally that is rendering them unable to engage in what we call substantial gainful activity. And so we help them get on to the disability benefit program. So
okay, I'm just thinking about, we have clients, for example, that have ALS.
Yes,
That's something that happens naturally occurring,
right?
And over time,
Yeah.
So that'd be something that capital injury law would be able to help a client with.
Correct. Yep. If they are having trouble getting access to those benefits, then I would say they should hook up with our firm, because a portion of our firm, that's all they work on. Okay. So my focus has always been on the personal injury side of things. But as I said, I acquired this Tacoma office and we have staff that all they do is the disability side of things.
And you cover all of Washington State with this service?
Yeah, actually the disability side is a national practice.
Oh.
Yeah, but our focus is on Washington State. So
that's great. So what's the best way people have questions or want to get a hold of you, Peter? What's the best way for them to reach out?
Absolutely. Love to have conversations. Our phone number is 360-209-3360. Our website is www.capitalinjurylaw.com, and that's capital with an AL, not capital. And through our website, there is a portal that you can use to communicate with us or initiate a conversation. The email that's best to use for the firm is staff, STAFF, at capitalinjurylaw.com.
Right, and we'll have all of that information at the bottom of our video as well.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. So, again, Peter, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And joining us as Capital Injury Law.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Here to Ask the Expert series. And thanks for watching, everyone. And be tuned in for our next episode of Ask the Expert.